You are great, yes, you are. Holy One. You walk upon the sea, you raise the dead. You reign in majesty, mighty one. Everything about you is great. You are great, yes you are. You are great, yes you are. Holy One, Holy One. You walked upon the sea, walk upon the sea. You raised the dead. Oh, you reign in majesty. You reign in majesty. Mighty One. Everything about you is good. You are great. 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 Everything about you is good. Demons tremble at your presence. Demons tremble at your presence. What a mighty God you are. What a mighty God you are. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Everything about you is good. Oh, say you are great. 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 Oh, you are great. You are great. You are great. You are great. Everything about you is good. Father, we thank you. There is none like you, absolutely. Gracious God, we adore you. Just pray in the Holy Ghost for a few minutes. Everywhere, just pray in the Holy Ghost. Celebrate Jesus. We lift your name. We lift your name. We lift your name. We lift your name. Jesus, we lift your name. We lift your name. We lift your name. We lift your name. Jesus, we lift your name. We lift your name. We lift your name. We lift your name. Jesus, we lift your name. We lift your name. We lift your name. We lift your name. Father, thank you. Thank you. Open your Bible to Psalm 50, verse 5. He cannot lie to me. The Lion of Judah. Are you there? He cannot lie to me. He cannot lie to me. He cannot lie to me. The Lion of Judah. He cannot lie to me. Psalm 50, verse 4 to 5. He said, He shall call to the heavens from above
and to the earth, that he may judge his people. Verse 5, want to go. Unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. He said, and the heavens shall declare his righteousness, for God is judge himself. Selah. I want to share briefly tonight on what I title sacrifice. Help me turn to somebody and say sacrifice. You are not saying it like you mean it. Somebody says sacrifice. Turn to somebody else, tell the person, say sacrifice. Take your seat for a while. Oh, thank you, my Father. Thank you, my Father. Here it is, the word sacrifice is a word I need you to give a second thought tonight. The word sacrifice is a strong word that is the secret behind most great people that you see. Every great man, as it were, has a connection to sacrifice. A destiny you are not willing to sacrifice for, you are not ready to fulfill. Every great success has a connection to what? Sacrifice. If you want to be outstanding, you want to be distinguished, you want to be excellent, you want to be celebrated, you want to win the trophy, then you must be ready to pay the price. You must be ready to give, to live a life of sacrifice. The Bible said, John 3:16, that for God so loved the world that he gave his only. To give your only son is a sacrifice. Tell your neighbor, say, are you ready to sacrifice? What are you ready to offer on the altar of sacrifice will determine the destiny you are ready to fulfill. I came tonight to talk to somebody because there is a sacrifice that you have to do. What did I say? There is a sacrifice that needs to leave you for the destiny you want to fulfill. The Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. That is a sacrifice. To give 1 out of 100 is not a sacrifice, as it were, compared to when you give 1 out of 1. But I have come to discover that in this kingdom there is only one secret among others that guarantees you a rising without struggle. Is what? Sacrifice. Sacrifice. He said, gather my people unto me, those who have entered into covenant with me by what? By sacrifice. Ask your neighbor, say, do you have a sacrifice on the altar? Ask somebody and say, what have you sacrificed for your destiny? What are you willing to sacrifice for your destiny? What are you willing to sacrifice? Let me say this to us. Every high riser has offered a sacrifice. There's the sacrifice of time. There's the sacrifice of strength. There's the sacrifice of knowledge. There's the sacrifice of confidence. There is a sacrifice that you must pay for the destiny you choose to fulfill. He said there's no other sacrifice, no other altar except that which Jesus has paid. For God to get us to salvation point, he needed to do a sacrifice. Am I talking to somebody here? The difference between two students in the class is how much sacrifice you are willing to pay. It takes a sacrifice to study your books. It takes a sacrifice to wake up and pray. It takes sacrifice. How many of us are willing to sacrifice our sleep? Sacrifice our food. The Bible said there was a little boy whose story is still date in the scriptures, who sacrificed, I believe, his lunch, his 5 loaves and 2 fishes for Jesus to do a miracle. That singular sacrifice gave him a place in scriptures. There was a woman about the alabaster box. Every one of you hearing the sound of my voice, there is a destiny that God desires you to fulfill, but you have a role to play. Somebody tell your neighbor, say, are you ready to sacrifice? Sacrifice. On the altar of sacrifice, destinies are bettered. Great destinies are bettered. I studied my Bible. The Bible told me of the story of the 5 wise virgins. The story of the 10 virgins. So 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. What was the difference between the foolishness and the wisdom of the both is that 5 sacrificially took extra oil. It takes a sacrifice to take an extra oil. Can I talk to somebody here? Do you know today, if you make up your mind that in the next 3 months you want to be an outstanding keyboardist, all you need is sacrifice, you will become it. Is it true? You will sacrifice anything, everything. Your time, your money, your head, and before you realize what is happening, you are becoming a celebrity in that field. Many of us are in the realms of number because we are not ready to sacrifice anything. You want to be great, there's a sacrifice. You want to be distinguished. Listen, God has paid the price for all of us to be successful, but some must be senior to others, and to get a senior among every one of us, sacrifice must go. There is a sacrifice. And what's his name? The Bible says Isaac said, get me venison such that my soul love, that I may bless you. And suddenly Jacob came with the venison, and Isaac said, how come you got it so soon? That means what he was expecting would be sacrificed. There's a sacrifice you must pay to get it. There's a sacrifice. There's a sacrifice that you must pay. Every one of you must understand that if you want to be great in life, I repeat, you must what? Be ready to do what? To sacrifice. God sacrificed his son. Abraham's sacrifice was to sacrifice Isaac for the destiny that he wanted to fulfill. Every one of you must make up your mind. In the place of prayers, you must be ready to sacrifice. To be a prayer man or woman, sacrifice must go. To be an outstanding student, to be a distinguished preacher or pastor, there's a sacrifice to pay. God bless you. Take your seat. There is a sacrifice to pay. As I speak to you right now, you can become anything you choose to become. Number 1 is to just have a knowledge, just be ready to pay a price, to sacrifice your time, your money, your sleep, your many things. You will suddenly wake up a champion. Every champion has a connection to sacrifice. If you are not ready to sacrifice something, you are not ready to become anything. I came tonight to make a statement to every one of us. Greatness is in our loins. Success is your nature. But you can remain in the realms of a small man or woman if you are not willing to pay a price for the destiny that you see. It takes sacrifice. When I talk about sacrifice, one of the things that will come to your mind is that, oh, we need to give money. It's part of sacrifice. But that's not what I came to talk about. There are many sacrifices. Number 1, tell your neighbors, are you ready to sacrifice your sleep? Many are poor because they are not willing to sacrifice sleep. He said, for a little sleep and a little slumber shall thy poverty come. Jesus said, can't you tarry with me just an hour? Men of power are men who to an extent have sacrificed sleep. Not sacrifice sleep for phone, not sacrifice sleep for TV, but sacrifice sleep either to pray or to study. Am I talking to somebody here? Sacrifice. There are some of you who need to. On this earth, the rich has no forehead. They have one head like you have. They have 24 hours like you have. The only difference between the rich and the poor is that the rich is willing to sacrifice for what they believe. They are willing to pay a price, which I call sacrifice. Have you seen a man who wants to succeed? There are times you come to the church in the morning, is in church, afternoon is in church, night is in church. You begin to feel for the person, but the person is paying a sacrificial price for a destiny that he wants to fulfill. In a short while, you pitied him yesterday, you begin to look up to him today. Sacrifice. Sacrifice. Don't tell me you have destiny to fulfill with the kind of food you eat and the kind of sleep you sleep. You eat anyhow, sleep anyhow. You don't have a consciousness of righteousness. Anything goes. Then you say you have a future to fulfill. You are deceiving yourself. To be pure, to an extent, it takes a sacrifice. It takes a sacrifice. He said, I have covenanted my eyes to the Lord. What does it mean? He said, I have sacrificed my eyes to the Lord. How can I look upon the poor maid? What sacrifice have you made? What have you slaughtered on the altar for the sake of the destiny you want to fulfill? This is what I have in my spirit to talk to somebody about tonight. There's a sacrifice. You must be willing to sacrifice sleep. Sacrifice sleep. I heard a great man of God said, he said, I sleep at most 4 hours every day. How many hours? 4 hours every day. You want to know how the man is a high flyer? He said, I sacrifice. He said, I sleep at most 4 hours every day. Every day. There are some of you in your workplace, you are sleeping. If you are sitting on a bike, you are sleeping. Am I talking to somebody here? Sacrifice. If you want to be great, even as a believer, you must be ready to sacrifice your sleep. Number 2, you must be ready to sacrifice for the world. It takes sacrifice. You know what it takes when they give you money to buy ice cream? You go and buy a book with the money. It's a sacrifice. While others are eating popcorn, you are reading the book. In a short while, you will become a book that they will also read. Sacrifice. There are many of us while we were growing up who channeled our pleasure money for the destiny that we want to fulfill. There are times I will travel. Now come back, they will ask me, what did you bring? I'll give them tapes. Recently, my wife was telling me that the tapes I used to listen to, there are still many of them in my house today. There is a sacrifice. If you must be a material in destiny, then you must be ready to sacrifice for the destiny you want to fulfill. Am I talking to somebody? Sacrifice. There are some of you who need to call him. You sacrifice him for the destiny you want to fulfill. What am I saying? If there is a young man, young lady in your life that is making you not to live according to the details of God, sacrifice him. What do I mean? Sacrifice. You know what I mean by sacrifice? Delete. It may be the one paying your bills. Suffer the pain today and secure the future tomorrow. Sacrifice at times is losing what you love to secure the destiny that will eventually bring love to your life. Sacrifice is letting go the pleasures of the immediate for the satisfactions of the ultimate. Sacrifice. Sacrifice. Imagine after this service now you have been cohabiting with a young man. And after this message, you go back and you are crying and carrying your bag. Where are you going to? You don't even know where you are going. Just tell him, bros, I'm not doing it again. It's a sacrifice. He said, what's wrong with you? He said, no, I'm not doing it again. I'm going. I want to die for Jesus. It takes a sacrifice to live yesterday and secure tomorrow today. It takes a sacrifice. It takes a sacrifice to call that man and tell the man, hey, sugar daddy, I don't have business with you anymore. It takes a sacrifice. a sacrifice to wither the storm just to be in his presence. It takes a sacrifice. Every one of you must be willing to pay a price, to sacrifice for the destiny that you can see. Sacrifice. Ask your neighbor, what have you lost? Since you became a Christian, what is it that you can tell that you have lost for the sake of the gospel? There are friends you lose when you get born again. It takes a sacrifice to let go some of your friends who were there for you in the world. Genuine salvation, there must be a separation. Something must leave you. You can't tell me you are born again and you still have comfort around iniquity. Men and women of sin is a sign that your salvation is with a question mark. Am I talking here? When I gave my life to Jesus, I remember vividly. I was like, my friends. And the Lord said to me, if the ways of a man pleases his God, it will make even his enemies to be at peace with him. That every new level, there are new friends. The reason why you think that your friends today that you trek together are the best of friends is because you don't have a car yet. When you get a car, you discover that you now begin to have friends who drive the same car that you drive. There are certain persons you don't make friends with them. Friendship just come. Maybe you meet somewhere, says, how is your car? Say, it's fine. Say, wow, my mechanic is not being fair. Like that, friendship has started. Okay, I'll show you to my own mechanic. It has begun. Levels has created friendship. Sacrifice. Even if I just came here to tell somebody, let me talk to you. Your prayer life is the way it is because you are not ready to sacrifice anything for your prayer life. Your word level is the way it is because you are not ready to sacrifice. The day you make up your mind that you want to sacrifice to grow in the word, even everybody around you will know that there's something that you are up to. Because when they see you, they see you. Everything about you is wired towards increasing in knowledge. Am I talking to somebody? There are certain friends I'm excited to be around because when we meet, we analyze scriptures, we talk about revelations. Sacrifice. There were 10 virgins, 5 were foolish, 5 were wise. The question I want to ask you, are you a foolish virgin or you are a wise virgin? The wise virgins are the virgins who sacrifice to carry an extra oil. Do you have an extra oil on the journey of life? What sacrifice have you paid? Certain marriages are breaking down because sacrifices are not being paid. The woman is not ready to sacrifice or the man is not ready to sacrifice. There's a sacrifice to pay. To tolerate certain people can be a sacrifice. A lady said, I can't marry a man who snores. Then what if you suddenly marry and you discover that you are getting married to a generator? Will you run from the marriage? Bible says love covereth a multitude of sin. Am I talking to somebody here? It will take a sacrifice for you to not be patient with him. To not train him on how to sleep, how to how to what? Stop the generator. Somebody says sacrifice. How many of you want to walk in power? How many of us want to be rich? How many of you are ready to be rich? Okay. How many of us are ready to pay the price to be rich? Huh? Do you know that the price to be rich is sacrificial? Huh? No matter what anybody tells you, your bills are in front of you when the covenant practice was in front of you. Am I talking to somebody here? There's a sacrifice. I don't know how to use this word. Okay, one of our pastors, we were holding a meeting and he said, one of the ways that Reverend lives his life, he lives a revelational life. The word revelation to him was that he lives a sacrificial life. I don't live a life of the normal. I live a life of abnormal. I live an abnormal life. There are certain things I do that is not in the realms of the normal. If every one of us does things normally, I will not win an award. I didn't do it to win an award. I only live a sacrificial life, and these things follow. Every life that will be applauded or celebrated must be connected to sacrifice. Sacrifice. The Bible said the woman came to Jesus and brought her alabaster box, broke it, and wiped his feet with her hair. That was the sacrifice. Even his disciples, Judas Iscariot, they said, this one can be sold and given to the poor. And Jesus said, the poor will always be among you. And that sacrifice, Jesus said, wherever this gospel is preached, our name will be what? Mentioned. That's what sacrifice can do for you. Sacrifice. You know what he said the other day? He said, how can I stay in a beautiful house and the ark of God is in a tent? That's sacrifice. What attracts God to men is sacrifice. Psalm 50 verse 5. He said, gather my people, my saint unto me, who have entered into covenant with me by what? Sacrifice. Sacrifice attracts God to men. And what is sacrifice? Sacrifice is going out of the normal just to honor God, or just to do. Just to do. Just to do. Most times, sacrificial life is not a covenant life. It's coming out of your comfort just to comfort. Breaking out of your comfort. C-O, is it C-O? Comfort. M? F-O-R-O-T. Coming out of your comfort just to what? Comfort. C-O-M-F-O-R-O-T-H. Abi? Coming out of your comfort just to comfort is what sacrifice can do for a certain people. Sacrifice. There are some of you hearing the sound of my voice now. If you can make up your mind today to sacrifice the flesh, sacrifice self, sacrifice pride, sacrifice certain things, you'll be so amazed what your destiny will become in a short while. Sacrifice. When everybody is closing in your office, let's say you give a little sacrifice just to tidy up before you leave. You are not doing it to be seen, but very soon the management will ask, who solved this problem? And they will go and look for you. Why? Sacrifice. The Bible said the little boy sacrificed his meal, 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And you know, he got back 12 baskets. 12 baskets. Sacrifice will never leave you stranded. Sacrifice will never leave you stranded. There are material sacrifice. There are sacrifice, your talent and your potentials. Even to developing yourself to becoming an envy in your field takes a sacrifice. You can carry your meal ticket, sell it and use it to go and buy a professional firm just to increase in knowledge. In a short while, while others are buying television, you are sacrificing for your vision. In a short while, those that bought television will watch you in their own television. Why? When you sacrifice for your vision, men will watch you in their television. I am not excited about people who tell me about their purpose. I look for how much you are willing to sacrifice for your purpose. Those are the people I'm looking for. Let's say somebody walked to me today. He said, man of God, I have a dream. And my dream is that I want to be a global star. I see myself singing in a world stage. I'm an international world singer. I begin to watch the person. I discovered that the person eats anyhow, drinks anyhow. There are certain people, they don't take oil, they don't take certain things. What are they doing? They are paving the path for the destiny that they see. It takes sacrifice to see a cold drink and avoid it because you have a performance. Somebody say sacrifice. Many of us are not willing to sacrifice, so we don't have the voice that our word will applaud. You eat oil anyhow. You want to be great? Sacrifice. Sacrifice. A student, the Bible says, study to show yourself approved, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. What is God saying? Pay sacrificial attention to studying God's word. Study to show yourself approved, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Sacrifice. Never mock, pity a man of sacrifice, because in a short while you'll be shocked what the man will become. When Elisha was paying the sacrificial price of following Elijah, other sons of the prophet were mocking him. His master was harsh, but he followed sacrificially. His master hid it from him, he followed sacrificially. But when he got the double portion, the same people who were mocking at him, they bowed down to receive him. Sacrifice suddenly makes you overtake others. What did I say? Suddenly. In sacrifice initially makes you look foolish and stupid, but suddenly makes you overtake. Strips you. Say, gather my sense. I want to be rich. Be ready to sacrifice. I want to be a professional. I want to be a celebrity in my field. Sacrifice. 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 A student that will be among the best in their school or class is a student that is willing to sacrifice for their books, for their studies. For their studies. When you are ready to sacrifice your sleep, your time, everybody is going to bed. Say, Mom, I'm not going to bed. I want to finish my homework. I have an assignment to attack. Maybe you were in class. You have some friends that you came together to study, and there was a problem you could not solve. You sleep and you begin to look for who to help you. Uncle, can you help me? Auntie, can you help me? You are looking for who to help you solve the question. Such a student will suddenly be applauded in an assembly ground. Every one of us must understand, greatness is not a reserve of few individuals. Greatness is the payment for sacrificial price that you are ready to pay. It's a payment. Success can be a compensation when you are available to pay the sacrificial price. It can be a compensation. There are certain people who spend more time sleeping in a mosquito infested place than they sleep in the comfort of their beds. What are they looking for? They are looking for a God, a city whose builder and maker is God. It takes a sacrifice to carry power. It takes a sacrifice to walk in power. It takes sacrifice to be prosperous. It takes sacrifice. Most of the rich men you see today, we celebrate their glory. Please ask them of their stories. They will tell you the mighty sacrifices they have had to make to become who they are today. Am I talking to somebody here? Many persons are not ready to sacrifice today. That's why their tomorrow is in trouble. Today must be sacrificed if tomorrow must be great. What sacrifice have you turned today to? What sacrifice? What sacrifice? Sacrifice. Sacrifice gives you names. Church girl, holy, holy, holy Adandao. Every day I go church, I go church, I go church, I go church, I go church. Book. Every day you are reading, you are reading, you are reading, you are reading. There are times in your office you go out of your way to do certain jobs that are not your job. While others are forming big boy and big girl, you just try to make sure what is not right is made right. In a short while, you will be shocked that there's a CCTV camera, that God alone is the watchman. And when the reward comes, even you will be shocked. Sacrifice. Don't eat your dinner for breakfast. If I let go breakfast so you can have a palatable or a delicious dinner. Sacrifice. You must be ready to lose something. That is sacrifice. When we tell people don't eat your tithe, give God a good offering, do this and this and this, they say, oh, this one. It takes a sacrifice. There are certain people, they don't give God sacrifice. They don't give God according to their standard. They give God according to a sacrificial revelation. and that distinguishes them among others. In your department, don't serve God according to the standard of men. Serve him with a value that is better expressed in sacrifice. Sacrifice can be a channel to express your true value for your God. Did you hear what I said? Sacrifice can be a channel to expressing your true value for God. He said, I can't give God that cost me nothing. That's sacrifice. It's an expression of your true value for what you do, for your destiny, and ultimately for your God. To give God the rotten one is not a sacrifice. It's easy to give Ishmael. It takes a sacrifice to give Isaac. Anybody can drop Ishmael, because in the first place it's a problem you want to discard. But to give Isaac, the one you love, is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. How many of you have been in a condition when you want to pray, you want to sleep? You want to pray, want to sleep. He said the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. It takes sacrifice, like Paul said, I subdue the flesh daily. It takes sacrifice to subdue the flesh. It takes sacrifice. Sacrifice. There are some of you, when you are making certain covenant with God, he said, and those who have entered into covenant with me by sacrifice, you are saying, Father, I can never miss service for no reason. It takes sacrifice. Because there are times you are in a fix, you still tell yourself, I must go. There were times in our lives where we will trek to an extent before we enter bus where our money can carry us. Let's say my money can't take me from my house to church, so I will trek to a distance where my money can carry me. I think most recently, some time back, I began to look for a certain conductor in Benin along Sapele Road. There was a young man. Anytime you call a job beggar and say, bros, no day, go just say, enter, go just shocking us, go enter. I am looking for that guy. The day I meet him, he will know that yesterday is not a waste for today. I am looking for him. There no money, we are going to church. Say, man of God, you don't come again. Or today you get money. You say, don't want kind. Just sit down. Conductor ain't go even hang for you to sit on his seat. Ministry must continue. It was a sacrifice. There are times you have to trek kilometers. Sacrifice. And when you are trekking, you are excited. You are just happy. Because when you have an understanding, the revelational understanding of what you are doing, you are excited even in the midst of sacrifice. There are people who are happy to sacrifice. There are people who murmur because they don't understand what God can do. When you have a revelation, sacrifice becomes an excitement. Get me right? You don't sacrifice as a businessman. You sacrifice for the love of what you do or the love of God. When you sacrifice because you love, in return, unconsciously, the returns can be heavy. So it's a sacrifice. Sacrifice. Have you ever been in a point where you are having a leading, you are having a restraint? Like let's say, for example, you have 10,000 naira, and the Lord you are hearing the voice saying, sow it as a seed. And all your problems are telling you, don't try that rubbish. The voice will even tell you when you are through sowing it, you will be faced with this same problem. But can I shock you? When you sow the seed, the problem will still be there. But in a short while, you will be so shocked that what God will do will be a shocker to you. I'm not talking from the say, I'm talking from a perspective that I've experienced. Sacrifice is the ability to overlook you and honor him. A great man said, if what you have can't meet your need, is a seed. It takes sacrifice to obey that word. Let's say you are looking for rent of $1 million and you have 800,000. You carry it and say it's a seed. The devil will remind you that you are only left with 200 to complete the money. But can I say something? When you kill the sacrifice on the altar, you know what you just did? You just said, my trust is in thee. My faith is you. And no man has ever looked up to him, and his face are not lightened, and were never ever ashamed. Sacrifice. If you want to be a wonderful member of your department, be willing to sacrifice for the growth, the progress, and the success of your department. Before you know what's happening, even your departmental leader will be recommending you as one of the best in the department. You play a role, sacrifice. You sacrifice to see that your department is distinguished, is outstanding. You pray for your department, it takes sacrifice. For Job to pray for his friends when he has his own problem, it takes sacrifice. I didn't come to talk too much tonight. I just came to say to somebody, I must sacrifice. Have you paid, or you are willing to pay for what you believe, for the destiny you want to fulfill, for the glory you want to enjoy? What's the sacrifice? I might say something. It takes a sacrifice to walk out of a course without struggle. It takes a sacrifice. It takes a sacrifice. It takes a sacrifice. God can be angry with you, but a sacrifice can reverse it. Sacrifice can reverse causes. Sacrifice. There's a way you will serve him, serve him, serve him. He will by himself lift the embargo and say, wait, in blessing I will bless you. In multiply I will multiply. Say, for thy seed shall be like the sand in the seashore. These are prayers that only sacrificial men receive. He said, for this you have done. What has he done? Sacrifice. He said, for wherever this gospel is preached, your name shall be mentioned. Sacrifice. He said, what do you want? I will make you the worthiest and the wisest. Sacrifice. Sacrifice bring you to a realm of supernatural exploit without strength. A man that is willing to sacrifice in the place of study is never scared of examination. Those days when we were in school, when exam is coming, there are two sets of students. One will be shouting, shift it. And also must write it. How many of you experienced it? Some students will be shouting, it's too close, shift the exam. Even if they shift it, they will still say shift it. We were two sets in class that time. I think I was a class rep at the time. So those set of people like me, they'll just say, this test, we are not writing it tomorrow. Say, class rep, do something, do something. And those set of persons, they know how to do many things. The set that are ever ready to write exam, at times they don't have, you know what I mean? But this other set, they will take class rep to canteen and say, class rep, see the lecturer, see the lecturer. It takes a sacrifice to be a high flyer. You want to be an outstanding singer, sacrifice. I had a young man then, he's one of our pastors today, who was with me. There are times he will tell you, I'm not eating, is it oil? He said, does not eat, is it oil? Oil. Does not drink cold water. There are many things he was avoiding. I said, young man, what's wrong with you? He said, no. For my voice, for my music career, I don't do this. But today, those things are scarce. You see them, they even drag oil beans. They drink ice block. And they say they want to be gospel singer. When me, my voice is ring. When they climb, they are even terrible. If you want to be an heavyweight lifter, then you must go and start training with a weight, with what? A weight or whatever they call it. Sacrifice. Many years ago, there was a man who was the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. We learned that the size of his weight of his blow was 50 kg. You know what that means? A bag of cement. If he punched you, it's like they threw a bag of cement at you. They said when he was in prison, he would be training with the wall. Pooh! That his blow began to crack the walls of the prison. I'm talking of then Mike Tyson. That was a man at round 2. He knocks out most of his opponent. If he gives you pooh, you are gone. You need God to help you. It takes sacrifice for your blow to knock off another man like you. It's sacrifice. Preparation is something I can connect to sacrifice. It takes sacrifice to prepare. It takes manifestation to be celebrated. Every great manifestation is a product of his sacrificial preparation. When a man is not prepared for exam, he sees the question paper and his temperature will run high. There will be pouring ice block on his head. So this lecturer is wicked. It did not set from where he the question is not from where we read. What kind of lecturer is this? Praise God. Somebody say, I refuse to be a beggar. I refuse to be small. I am ready to pay the sacrificial price for my destiny. Can I say something? How many of you are learning how to drive a car? You are learning now how to drive. Lift your hands. Huh? Huh? You are learning, man. You are learning. How long now? 1 month now, okay. 3 months. Huh? How many months? About 3 months. Okay. About 3 months. In that 3 months now, what do you know how to do? Okay, you don't know how to drive in 3 months. Eh? Okay, do you know there are people who are learning a car for 1 year? Huh? 1 year. Okay, you have a friend, he's learning how to drive. He has a car, and more than 4 years he cannot drive. How many of you know you can start today and you start driving by the end of the month? Huh? 2 days. Do you know how I learned how to drive? It was one driver. Oh, you are laughing. You said what? Eh? Eh? Yes. A manual on Jetu Road on the hill. We just got to the hill. The young man Eugene just ran out of the car and said, drive yourself. Bros, I entered the motor. You know manual now? See me see motor. I sweat. I hated him that day, but I appreciated him later. Because if he had not treated me like that, I would not have taken a sacrificial step to becoming a driver today. Every one of you must understand what you are not willing to sacrifice for, you are not ready to be celebrated for. Sacrifice. I met a man in America who has been in America. In fact, he's a citizen of America. In America, to keep your shape is sacrifice. Not our area where food is scarce. That one with $1, you are eating all kinds of burger. That's why almost many of them, you know, the young man is it still very clear? And I said, what's this, sir? I sacrifice for this shape to remain. Okay, we even saw one of our daughters who came to see us in the hotel. She was one of us in Lagos, in US. She still said, no, don't go there. There are some of you, if you go to America 1 week, everybody will know that you travel to America. You will eat McDonald's and McBurger. When you are coming, weight gain is easy. Weight lost is with a sacrifice. To gain 10 pounds is no sacrifice. To lose 1 pound, honey, is sacrifice. At times you are true. When you come back, you will say, help me carry my leg. Oh God. To keep shape, to be fit, to be outstanding, is with a sacrifice. Pay the price. You will suddenly be applauded and celebrated. Stand on your feet. Somebody say, Lord, teach my hand to sacrifice. Help my life to sacrifice. I want to sacrifice for the gospel, for Jesus. I want to live a sacrificial life. Just open your mouth and talk to God. Help me. Help me. Help me. Help me. Oh. Today. Jesus' name. In the name of Jesus. Take your seat. Hallelujah. If you have a question or you have suggestion or contribution, okay, that's one.